Peace and respect to you all. Welcome to Demolished Doctrine, the beginning of the end of religion. And we're just going to wing it and see what happens. StreamYard link is pinned at the top of the side chat. Feel free. Brother Robbie, please be safe driving. Ignore me as much as you need. Your safety is a lot more important than this little YouTube channel, particular episode, blah, blah, blah. Max says he's coming in a minute. Peace and respect, Commander 401 as well. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Yeah. You know, it's probably a good thing that they divided it up into 1 hour time frames around the planet, but actually you can infinitely divide it because it's a gradation, you know, the Earth turning where the sunlight is coming from. If you think about it, if you walk toward the west, you're traveling forward in time. And if you walk toward the east, you're delaying it. Peace and respect.
Oh, peace and respect, sir. It's like a Beatles song. I'll follow the sun.
Oh, follow the sun.
Yep. Hey, Wild.
What is that song? That's
the Beatles.
Beatles.
Dun, dun, boom, boom, dun, dun, dun. Something. I'll follow the sun. What is it? Hey, Matt. Please, sir.
I don't know. Since you said that one line, all I can think of is "I'll follow the sun," and that's the only one. I can't remember the rest of the song right now.
The rest is I don't know. I know the tune, but I can't draw the name or the rest of the lyrics. I don't know why.
Peace and respect, Jason Jacoby. Mac.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
You were outside doing chores and stuff, weren't you?
That's exactly what I was doing. Yeah. It's a chilly autumn morning, and I had some work to do. I forgot it was Wednesday. I really apologize.
You know what? I have the same brain. No, you can't ma on my show. That's your show.
Well, Mac, I'm saying you should leave, then return. Then I could say return of the Mac.
It might happen organically with my internet.
Don't have to force it.
Yeah. Good to see you, Wildheart and PJ. Richard.
You as well. You as well.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming in, guys. I appreciate it. All of you. Mac, I appreciate you. Even though you're scheduled, I still appreciate it. I really do. All right, so let's throw out some topics here. Mac, did you have anything since you have priority being the scheduled person?
I mean, I've had things come up in my mind over the week. I've been, but I don't really have anything super challenging right now. I've been thinking a lot about the cosmology. Here's where my mind is kind of in two places since the. Yeah, we should probably address that too. I wouldn't mind talking
we'll
about
get
that
to that.
Too. Yeah,
I just wanted to have him a chance to think about it.
Yeah. So the claims you make about the galaxies and the cosmos, the physical claims, about how it all operates and stuff. First of all, it's not clear to me at what scale you posit that the gods are able to manipulate things like solar systems. So I'd appreciate some clarity on that. I mean, last time at the very end of our talk last week, you started to talk about the constellations and how like the stories are in the constellations. And I wanted to drill down there, but I didn't ask about, okay, is that like pareidolia, where we're taught the stories and then we see the stories in the sky? Or are you suggesting that those stars were put there to tell the story, which is a much bigger claim, of course. So all of that's very interesting to me. And then the other thing I've been thinking a lot about is trying to clarify what I was saying to you about stories and art and kind of where I can see representations of your message in the world. like in Beatles songs and things like that. I realized that was a really clumsy explanation, and I've been thinking about it a lot about how to say it more clearly. I don't think I can, but I might give it another try today. So those are the two things on my mind this week.
I think that was 3. What was the third? What was that last thing you just said? I was taking notes on the other 2 things before I forgot them, and that had me distracted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, just what I kind of went on for a little bit last week about the about how I interact with stories and how I think that it's sort of an unusual way to interact with stories. It might be like a particular talent of mine or possibly a particular delusion of mine. I'm not sure, but I do feel like
eventually.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't feel like I spoke very eloquently about it, and I might give it another try this week. So
that'd be lovely, actually. Okay. PJ, do you have anything to add right now? Wildheart?
The detox thing. I have to keep a diary of how much I drink for the next 2 weeks. They wouldn't let me into detox. I went to see the nurse, but I have to keep a diary of how much I drink every day, and then they'll let me into detox.
That's a really simple diary. Just write all I can get a hold of every time. Just write that, and you're done with the diary. I'm just kidding. PJ?
Oh, no, I just found it interesting. You're talking about the stories and the stars, and it seems, when people look up, they seem to be enlightened and find enlightening things. But when you look into the woods, that's where you find the scary stories. It's a weird thing how
that's
imagery pertains to our vocalization. And, hey, Big Z.
Hello. Don't let me interrupt you. Please keep going.
We're gonna hear from you too, man.
Oh no, that's about it. Really, just the
the
patterns and the imagery. Then what we have to come up with really to the first part of understanding, I think, or comprehension and dialect between people.
Yeah, I think it is talking about enlightenment, not light from the stars, but the light that happens in the mind due to the stars, which is completely arbitrary and invented. And we'll get to that. The O-striped one,
yes,
of the blacks and the whites. Did you catch the topics that we're doing right now?
No, not at all. I just found the link and have been trying to get in. Managed to do it finally.
Yeah. No, I appreciate every time you can make it. I do. Hold on just a second. Peace and respect to who did I just see? Pixie Storms, this one guy, and Dr. Osiris and Carol the Atheist. Thank you all so much for dropping by. Even if you do not stay, I appreciate you even showing up. All right. Yeah. So hold on, Wildheart. Just give me 1 minute. I'm trying to spit this out as quick as I can. Big Zebra, the questions Max proposed are, to what extent did this God that I believe in create? And does that include the creation of the stars themselves or only the constellations? And he's going to speak a little bit more, Mac intends to, would like to, if we can get it back around to it, to speak a little bit more about how he perceives differently than other people do the meanings of stories in our cultures. And Big Zebra, did you have anything to say about any of that right now?
Other than I'm glad I'm here and it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
I don't know what your answers to those questions would be.
I do.
I just wanted to say hello to everyone in the side chat as well. Pixie, Tog, Carol the Atheist. Just hello to everyone in the side chat.
Oh, this one guy. Peace and respect. Okay. All right. So let's get this down to some brass tacks. I do not see any claims in any religions other than by the practitioners where their God or the God did create all of existence everywhere, but only what we're experiencing from our point of view. Okay. So from that perspective, there's nothing wrong with saying snow globe model of flat Earth inside of a dome. Because without technology, that's what you see. Okay. Is it true in reality? No. but it's an okay way to describe it from our experience level. Same thing with the constellations. Specifically in the Christian text, in the Torah, if you look up the definition of the words which Christians often claim is ex nihilo creation of all things everywhere, the text simply is not claiming that. And for anyone who hasn't heard me say this is going to be a little bit repetitive for Mac and Steve, but if I said something like, I have no car and it's out of gas and it has a flat tire. No, it doesn't. It doesn't even exist. It's not out of gas. It never had gas because it never was a car. And it doesn't have a flat tire because it never had a tire because it never was a car. So when the text is talking about the condition of the earth at the beginning of before terraforming it with the 6 days of creation, saying that it was formless and void, that word formless there means no area distinctions, like it's all one thing. Okay. Like perhaps all dirt and rock, all minerals, right? And then the word void there refers to life, saying that it has no life forms on it, which, by the way, follows the prime directive. You don't mess with stuff where things that are living already exist. You don't do that. And that's basically the claim right there. And then if you look into the word stars, it's not stars generally like a scattering of stars. It's actually clumps or piles of stars. Well, there are, from our perspective, piles of stars. We call them constellations. There's good rationale why the constellations look like crap. If you look at Taurus, for instance, it looks like a tall, skinny mouse. It does not look like a bull. But it was close enough for them to use that constellation to describe the everlasting story that is Taurus, that always applies on every earth. So they said, okay, well, they pointed out the stars. The word made right there, made the stars, in our modern language, the way that we cognitively think about things in European descent societies, should probably read something more like, I repurposed the clumps of stars. So there's no claim of inventing them either. They were there from this perspective. And as we all know, peace and respect, Halcyonic Kaiju. As we all know, because of modern science, say the constellation Taurus, for instance, or any of them actually, the stars are not equidistant, nor are they equal size. And from any other perspective in outer space, if you went, I'd say 40 or more light minutes out of our orbit, you would not see those constellations the same way.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah, it's only from this point of view,
right?
Because they're three-dimensional. You don't have 3 stars like my finger points. If you change the angle, it's actually they're like this.
Right.
It doesn't make that triangle anymore. All right, so there's that.
Can I just say hello to Sammy as well? Sorry.
Yeah, he felt left out.
Please do. Yeah. Poor Shammy.
I have to say, I'm glad you pointed out that the constellations are, of course, different, depending on your perspective.
Right,
I would have mentioned that myself had I been awake.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I stole it from you since you're not quite awake.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Sorry,
what do you think of all that?
No.
And we'll just do it in the same order. Mac, PJ, Wild Heart, Big Z.
Okay, so then the idea is that maybe the planet was chosen with the way the constellations would appear from here to do this gardening on, and the constellations that happen to be visible from here were used to tell the story or to anchor the story.
Not exactly what I think is true. Okay. What I think is true is no matter what M zone planet that they choose to terraform around the right kind of star at the right kind of distance, M zone stuff, no matter which one they terraform, they just go around looking for one. and then they have the standardized story that they're going to tell in astrology, in spoken religions, and written religions. It's always going to be the same story no matter what, because the story addresses what they intend to do and our human nature and the journey of the hero.
Right.
For instance, the constellation Orion is nada. It's nothing. It doesn't look like a human being with a sword and a bow and arrow in his hands. It does not look like that. Dude, a 5-year-old could make a better dot to dot than that easily.
Always look like a fish to me.
See what I'm saying? They don't look like what they are pointed out. Peace and respect, and we'll get to you in just a minute, Jamie Russell.
Jamie.
Peace and respect, also clout. Okay. But if I say something like Orion slays the bull, right? Well, then you need two constellations where one can perceptually be like pointing at the other, right? In some way. So you can say, well, that's his arrow, right? And the Orion is the hero who is an archer and a swordsman going forth. This is directly related to the same biblical story, that the story of the hero, he is given a bow and an arrow, and he goes forward conquering and to conquer, and that he has the sword of God, which is the truth, with which he slays, and he's born into the Reuben tribe, which is Taurus, the bull. So his birth slays the bull, which is why in the Bible, in the Old Testament, when Yeshua, which means Jehovah salvation, literally the same word as Jesus, why they sacrifice a bull at his birth is because you have to.
Did they sacrifice a bull at the birth of Jesus?
Yeah, when they call him Joshua the prophet.
Oh, okay. So they sacrificed a bull when Joshua was born?
Right. Yeah, they have to. It's one and the same thing. It just identifies when he's born, which is why the sheep are out grazing, and it's not in the wintertime at all.
Is that when? Is that in the Bible or a different holy book where the bull is slain?
Because as I said, it's in the it's the story of in the constellations.
Oh, okay.
So how far back do those go? That goes all the way back to, what is it? The Druids and the Norse. That kind of time frame,
and maybe the Romans too. They had sacrifices of the bull of heaven, I think, and
yes,
there's some thought that Mithras might have been sacrificing the bull of heaven as well.
This is why Enkidu has to kill the bull of heaven. This is why.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's Sumerian.
I spoke out of turn. I'm sorry. Never mind.
No, you're totally right. No, you brought up things. But we could keep going like that. To the point where we could talk about Aboriginal Australian stories. We could talk about Native American Aboriginal stories. Yeah. It just
I meant spoke out of turn that it was supposed to be Wildheart speaking, I think.
No,
I did speak out of turn.
Yeah, I've got lots to say at the moment. Go on.
PJ?
I'm trying to remember. Okay. Like the perspective that we have for our stars, constellations that are here are kind of like made for this planet, for us to interpret and to bring into some type of light or whatever storytelling may be. So for other planets to see, it may be from a whole different angle, perspective, or view, but they have their own stories and their own ways of finding things out. And other than that, the only thing I think of, if there are other planets that see the perspectives of different constellations that bring, stories out and bring humanity kind of like out from the caves.
Yeah.
Then I get like a little weird and say maybe it's like, some kind of race, which one will get it first. I was raised in the 80s, like a good space battle.
Who doesn't? I think you're going to be thrilled when you see the war in the heavens. Okay, so I think we're given a certain amount of freedom for now. and we're all allowed our own subjective opinions. We can have things like war that cause suffering. We can not help those who are starving literally to death every day, and we have those choices to make. And people will all choose differently what they get from life and what they glean from these stories. We even have the freedom to say these stories have no value and aren't true in reality in any way. We have that freedom as well. And you're more than welcome. I mean, I'm not saying that sarcastically. You're more than welcome to think whatever you like until you have the conclusive and undeniable evidence right in front of you, at which point you should accept the reality that is at hand, because that's what sane people do. They change their mind based on the reality of their first person experience in the time that they have those experiences. And that's fine. It's perfectly logical. It's easily justified. There's nothing to explain, like a mama holding her baby. It's just completely natural.
Oh, I have something to say now. I'm going to get a tattoo. Do you know the wild symbol?
No tattoo.
Bands.
Yeah, they said it'd be about 40 or 50 pounds. So the next time I can afford it, I'm getting my first tattoo. It's going to be the wild symbol. No.
Get it on your forehead, so in case they have a reunion tour, you might be able to get it for free.
Dude, if you got a tattoo of a band, the split second you do, the band will break up. That's how the universe works.
I think that they might have already broken up.
Yeah, no magical thinking there.
No, not at all.
Peace and respect, Doc Fearsome. Thanks for dropping by. All right, was that the end of that? Did we get that? Was that everything?
Yeah.
All right, Mac, it's yours again.
All right, cool. Well, let's talk about magical thinking for a second, because there's another thought I had over the week okay, so primitive people who I like to imagine as walking around without all of the artificial light that we have, and astounded by the overwhelming presence of the heavenly bodies and the stars, and of course they're telling stories about them and finding relationships between their reality and the patterns that they're discovering in the sky. And I was thinking, maybe it's occurred to other people before, but it occurred to me for the first time that specifically the idea of children being born in under certain stars or under certain signs have specific attributes as they develop and as they become adults. That could be based on a reality that, for instance, infants in primitive times who were born in winter would have had a very difficult first few months with very little resources, possibly difficult times, raising their temperature, maybe illness, things like that. So maybe they become a more stoic, focused individual if they survive that, where, children born in a more plentiful time of year might have a little bit of a gentler continence as they grow up. And we know that you can influence people's personalities by like what they're exposed to as infants or as young people. And yes, there are these like what do they call imprinting kind of events during development where it sort of forms a vital part of your personality depending on when different events happen, traumatic events, for instance, or lack of or abundance of things like a motherly figure in your life. Things like that can really affect the kind of person you become. I wonder if that just became something that everybody knew, like, oh boy, this guy was born in the winter, so you know what kind of guy he is, or he, he was born under Taurus, so you know how he's going to be. I wonder, like, and maybe you could sort of rely on that.
This is very, very just my opinion and my own life experience. And I don't see much in the text about that, except for the naming of the 12 tribes and their basic aspects. The children of Israel, Joseph will be a herder of sheep.
Right. I've seen
represented
them
the sign Aries, and that Reuben will be like a raging bull, which represents Taurus, and all the way around. It's a 1-to-1 match, except for one of them. And by default, if you only have one, then that one place is that other thing that's not mentioned, and that's Scorpio versus which used to be Akia the eagle, which in the in Israeli astrology is Ben Hameen the wolf. But that's the only one, and there's only one place to put it, since the other 11 are perfect matches. In a little bit of a side tangent. Oh my gosh, there's just I'm having so much fun. I want you guys to know I'm having a blast.
Me too.
Okay.
Hey, St. Tavi.
Cool.
Peace and respect, Tommy and Harple Blues.
And good point, Harple.
Well, Harple's a really smart dude. If that were true, astrology in the southern hemisphere would be inverted.
If what I said is true. Yeah.
To some extent, it would have to be. And I think we have shown in the ENCODE project that expression of genes can be influenced by the immediate environment.
Oh,
so you have that as well. Go ahead.
What's called epigenetics, or am I confusing the term?
That is.
Okay.
That is. The regulators that cause certain expression to happen can be pretty darned immediate.
Okay. That makes sense. Lordy. Pardon me, my microphone is tangled up. I'm going to be away for a moment.
Okay. Wildheart, you have anything on that?
No, it kind of makes sense, but I think astrology, how you've explained it makes sense, but astrology in general is like BS. Do you know what I mean?
I think just like all the religious expressions, the practitioners took it too far over time. They kept expounding on it and expounding on it. And I think that happened in astrology. Eventually, when we split off and made astrology into astronomy, you know, the physical things of space, that became a science. But the rest of it stayed very, very religious, and gets to the absolutely ridiculous when you start reading, you know, Sunday horoscopes in the paper that somebody who's not even like any kind of an expert or brilliant person on astrology wrote generalistic things that people would like to think about themselves.
Yeah. Plus, I'm Gemini, and we don't believe in astrology.
That was lovely. I'm a Gemini, so I think it's all crap. But that's predictable because I'm a Gemini. PJ.
Yeah, I was really grooving on what Mac was saying earlier. It makes a lot of sense in a way, you know, how children being born at different times of the year at a certain time in culture, it would definitely show in the future in the child. It pertaining, I guess, to the general sense of it all. So that makes a lot of sense. I think, you know, it's gone from that to, you know, what we have now, just storytelling and whatever we could do to make people feel better. But it does make a lot of sense what you're talking about there, Mac.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I guess I had a rare moment of lucidity.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut now and then. Halcyonic Kaiju or Space Cadet wrote, can you guys talk about the recent confirmation that reality is not local real, but universally real? In the same order, please, starting with Mac.
So I read that article and I don't think I understood it, but it reminds me of supposedly there was a famous conversation between Dirac. The physicist's name was Dirac, and Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein, who's, you know, sort of a pragmatist for all of his wild ideas, said, do you really think, and maybe I got the physicist wrong, but it doesn't matter. Do you really think that when we're not looking at it, that the moon isn't there? And Dirac said, yes, I'm afraid that that's been proven experimentally. And Einstein at that point didn't mention the rock, the stone that Dirac was about to stub his toe on, and said, well, after it happened, well, was that there even though you weren't observing it? And or something like that, or shove your non-local, non-reality up your keister, because it's I don't really know how meaningful it is. The discoveries that they're talking about, both the word local and real have very specific definitions within that field, and they don't mean what we mean when we say local or real. They don't mean like in our vicinity or like tangible. They don't mean
wait, are you suggesting there's a difference between colloquial usage of a word and then philosophical definitions of those same words?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah,
there is a huge difference there.
I don't know. It probably is an astounding discovery, though, that I just don't get. So I don't know. But I have stubbed my toe.
I don't know. I think Einstein makes a good point that if things were not there because you're not observing them, then they wouldn't have effect on reality because they're not there.
Yeah.
Okay. So from the first person perspective, everything that I think and feel and experience as true does not include all things everywhere, because I'm not everywhere, and that's fine. And I can't look everywhere constantly in all directions. I don't have Superman X-ray telescope vision. I don't have that. In fact, the entire Earth doesn't have that. Even our best technology, we hit a wall and we can't see beyond that wall. Now, that doesn't mean those things aren't there when you're not looking at them. They're only experientially not there. So are we talking about the first person experience or group experience, or are we talking about the reality outside of that experience? And then we could go directly into, is there truth? And what does individual truth mean versus an objective truth? And can there even be an objective truth and all those things?
I think, Richard, you're speaking out in favor of object permanence, which is good. That's a joke, but it didn't land. No one laughed.
The problem is you're just so damn smart, and I don't get the joke.
With children, say they're a toddler, and if you, at a certain age, if you take a cookie out of their sight, then the cookie ceases to exist. But
Peekaboo.
At a certain age, they realize object permanence, and that something doesn't cease to exist just because it's removed from your sight.
Right, object permanence. Yes. Yeah, and that's why the game Peekaboo only lasts so long.
Yes. It gets boring
when you pull up a blanket in front of mom's face and she disappears. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
And then immediately she comes back. That is insane. How did that happen?
I wanted to ask
Whoever's doing that, mute themselves, please.
My goodness.
Yes,
what is that?
Yes. I think it's Wildheart. I'm writing him out.
He did mute himself.
Okay.
He's being polite.
Oh, if I can, I wanted to ask you, Richard, if these stories we associate with astrology are just, they aren't inspired by the stars, but they are, that we project them, just as we, people are guilty of projecting. We also have stories in our psychology, and we project them upon the stars, which is what I assume we're doing, but I'm not sure.
When I say how much did it get twisted over time and what did it become just because we had the idea too long and we started adding our own stuff into it, that's what I'm talking about, is what you just said there.
Okay.
But I am claiming, I believe the story is claiming, that from our specific 16-minute light circle, 16 minutes of light circle around the sun, that they adopted that position while terraforming and said, okay, we've got to tell this story. The story is standard from here, guys, when we look up, and I mean angels, like literally talking about that, which one do you think works best for the story of Orion? Because every Earth has Orion from that Earth's position. And someone goes, well, we need Orion to be pointing at the bull. So that triangle right there kind of looks like the face of an animal. Let's use that for Taurus. And then we got that arc over there, and it could have been 3 stars, but luckily this time we got 4 stars, and that kind of looks like the arc of a bow. So let's use that set right there from this perspective to tell that part of the story. And they tell all the stories in the stars.
Hmm.
And everything's just a conversation killer. And moving on then.
What was Kaiju's question, or whoever it was? Clout? Clout had a question.
Clout had a question.
I posted it on screen.
This comment, if astrology were true, some expert at understanding it would be able to guess the point in the year you were born. No one has ever guessed me right. Maybe that's because it's not a science. Maybe it's a whole bunch of guesswork. And what people are really doing when they guess, they know your sign. What they're doing is they're creating a baseline by getting to know you a little bit. And then whatever aspects that you portray, they will loosely associate, but by verbal and nonverbal clues that they've picked up through probably years, maybe a decade or more practice, of what you indicated sign you were born into. So they're going to do this false correlation of things and think that shows something true.
Right. And I don't think that that's the way it's supposed to work anyway. It's supposed to be more like, we'll see when you were born and then try to extrapolate significance from that and see if that can help you on your, in your life. That significance. It's not supposed to be like, I'm going to get to know you and then guess your sign. That's like a trick you do to pick up girls at the bar, though. I've heard. Right.
I think it's just hugely obvious that on average, a cis white male who can speak astrology is doing it to pick up on who they're interested in, and that's the only freaking reason. They don't believe any of that crap. I've seen them turn and wink at me, and I'm like, you're probably going to get laid. Good job. But it's just a ploy. Okay, so new topic inspired by Tommy. The stars of Bethlehem and David were real. A statement with a question at the end, question mark at the end of it, not stated as a question.
Were they real?
But never mind all that. Were the stars of Bethlehem and David real? Historically, on this planet, I don't think the text is claiming that whatsoever. Let's say that you had the planet Jupiter in the position 5. As it rotates through the constellations. So that puts it just south of perfectly east and in Virgo. So Libra is the next sign. So I'm doing it backwards. I'm doing it right to me and backwards to you. So you got Libra. Is this pointing to the east to you? That's my camera reversed. My pointing east top right now.
Yeah, it's pointing east.
I'm pointing east. Okay. Yeah. So you got Libra, and right under that you got Virgo. So Virgo is the house of bread, Bethlehem. Exactly the same words, but just in a different language. So you've got the giant who is aligned to David's tent, which is in Bethlehem in his father's house. That is to say, and by the way, this is true in astrology, that the planet Mercury's natural house is Virgo. It's there as well, not coincidentally, not very interestingly to me. and the planet's going counterclockwise around the sun. That was a tricky thing to do just now. The next constellation that the giant Goliath or Jupiter, which will be Jupiter, the next sign he's gonna be in is the east. So you've got the decapitation and death of Goliath in Virgo, Bethlehem, right? And then as it didn't lose mass, it didn't gain much mass, it's going to continue on its orbit, ends up east. Now you have the biggest star in the sky in the east, literally over Bethlehem. Position 5 into position 4. Also, that explains the wise men, who I can show objectively are carrying gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The reason you don't recognize the three wise men right now is because there's 4 of them. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are in the inner solar system inside of the asteroid belts. Take away David and or Mercury, and what do you have? Venus, Earth, and Mars. And are they carrying gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Do we find that stuff here?
What the hell is myrrh?
It's a myrrh is a bitter plant extract.
All right.
Yeah.
Just it's used for incense.
Ah, right.
When you heat it up, it smokes, and the smoke smells a certain way. Some people like that. Same with frankincense.
Right. Is one of them used for a death ritual? Like when you have the body lying in before burial? I can't remember now.
Okay, so people use herbs and oils and all kinds of things for all kinds of different reasons. Is that a thing that some culture somewhere on the earth does because those plants are indigenous to the... Yes. But then again, that's human extrapolation of what these things are intended to be used for and what they mean, and has nothing to do with the religious story itself. And by the way, dead humans stink. So you want to create a really pungent smell that covers that. I understand that they make a special kind of paste that people who inspect dead bodies use and put it under their nose so it's all they can smell to defeat the smell of the body. Okay. Oh my gosh, so distracted. Going back a little bit. So Venus, Earth, and Mars are traveling through the solar system in a counterclockwise, as all the planets are, even though some are spinning backwards and some are turned on their side, and some moons go the wrong way and stuff like that, which is not possible in conservation of angular momentum, i.e. simple physics. It's not possible. Those things can't be turning that way, but they are. I mean, in a Big Bang model, that makes no sense. But because they're going counterclockwise through the soul. Hold on a second. Let me finish this idea, and I love you. I'm going to get to you. Because the 3 wise men go through Bethlehem following the star in the east. They have to. That was the end of that story.
But did you just say that something that was impossible actually happens? Because
yes, what I said was the Big Bang Theory doesn't explain these things.
But
I didn't. I said the Big Bang Theory is not. It's not sufficient.
Right, but you said something that was impossible actually happens. That is impossible.
If I say something like, in the theory of homeopathy, doesn't explain why surgery works. But all I said is homeopathy is an incomplete theory.
No, you said it was impossible. Something that is impossible cannot happen. But you're saying
you're not grokking the concept.
No, you did say that something that is impossible.
Oh, fuck me. I'm going to kick you if you keep doing it. I'm seriously going to kick you. You are concentrating on half of an idea leaving the other half out. You are cherry picking. That's fallacious. You are technically correct and ignoring the other half of what I said.
Right, I won't do it again. But
Well, I'll bet you will, because this
I-
ain't the first time. But let me just point out to you why I'm not just insulting you or ridiculing you, and that's what you actually did. Okay? I'm going to find a different way to say the same thing and see if it makes sense to your particular brain this time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I love you and I respect you and I think you're brilliant, but you're thinking about this the wrong way. I
Right.
said in physics, there's something called conservation of angular momentum. What does that mean? What that means is if I took like a circus act, I took a steel spike and I spin a plate on it.
Yeah.
No matter how fast I spin that plate, I'm just balancing the plate. And then I take a 9mm gun and I shoot the plate anywhere. I don't have to shoot the middle of it.
Yeah.
That bullet going through the brittle surface will cause shattering all over the place.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Every one of those pieces, whichever way I started spinning it, every one of those pieces will continue to spin in the same direction the plate originally was. None of them will spin the other way. Got
Nope.
that?
Yeah.
That's conservation of angular momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. We see things that are spinning in outer space.
Yeah.
Okay. They say that is because of conservation of angular momentum,
Yeah.
which means when the big expansion happened, it spun,
Right.
which means we should never see something spinning the wrong way.
But we do.
But we do.
So you're saying that's what's wrong?
I'm saying the Big Bang model doesn't work to explain these observations about angular momentum in the way some moons orbit. The fact that Saturn is laying on its side and it's rolling sideways like a barrel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, rings of Saturn. Yes, the one with the rings.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain those things, but NASA, etc., say, well, this planet is spinning too fast. This one's turning the wrong way. This one's axis is going the wrong way. Those things. That's because of meteoritic impacts.
Right, but how can something that actually happens be impossible?
That's not what I'd said.
He says there's a better explanation.
All right, sorry.
Yeah.
I just said Big Bang doesn't explain that.
Hello, Nisha and JG. There's all inside chat.
Wow, you noticed things I didn't. Peace and respect, JG and Nisha. Okay, is that enough on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So I didn't say something impossible happened. That's not what I said. I said something unexplained by Big Bang we see in reality. And that happened. That's all I said.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Where the heck were we?
So the
that
three
all
wise
happened?
men, they go to Bethlehem.
Yeah, they have to go through Bethlehem because they go counterclockwise. So you got the 12 positions, right? You've got, so this is perfectly south. That's perfectly east. This is Libra. Right below that is the house of bread, referred to. This is, by the way, it's called the Judge, not Libra. Libra is a nickname. This one's not called Virgo. It's called the house of bread. Virgo is, again, a nickname. And since all the planets are going counterclockwise through the solar system, the three wise men have to go through the constellation, which is a rounded end triangle, or an eternal triangle with no end, depending on how you look at it. They have to go through Bethlehem if they're going to follow the star in the east.
So that sounds a little bit like a clock to me. Like it's saying this is
very clockwork.
This is when it will happen.
Yes. There's only a possibility of the sign of the face of God, the bright and burning light, whose face is like the sun in its strength.
Right.
There's only one possibility of that every 12 Earth years. Because it has to happen at the end of Virgo.
Right.
and then it has to occur through all of perfectly east, which is why actually it's that east and the light from the east, and the reason they come from the east appears in Shrek, Lord of the Rings,
Right.
the Bible. It just goes on forever,
Freemasonry,
everywhere. This
yeah.
the primacy of the eastern direction.
Right.
It's like a
Which
really
is where
huge
the
deal.
sun rises.
Yes, and you know, Gandalf
Right.
shows up in the east with the rising sun
Right.
for a very religious reason. You know,
how's sorry, brain not
Brain.
working.
Brought up Gandalf.
House of the Rising Sun song.
House of the Rising Sun.
Very good. Yeah. Nice. Don't go there, though. You've been warned against going there.
It's claimed many a poor boy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I belong there then.
I love that song.
Warn my baby sister.
There is a house in Nolan they call the rising sun. Okay, that was the musical break. That was it. That was
That's
just
all.
for you, Wild Heart.
That was
Okay.
a musical break.
That was it.
Grab
Just
more
one
coffee.
line.
BRB.
Okay. Just wasn't as musical as, you know.
You're a harsh critic, Big Zebra. I
Oh, I
hope that
couldn't
you're
resist.
also. I hope you're
Well,
also.
remember the torment I've suffered at Wild Heart's hands as he sings.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I kept it short for everybody.
It's toughened me up, you know.
I'm glad to be of help.
Okay, so if somebody on the panel doesn't say something as a new topic, I'm going to start scanning side chat. In fact, I already am.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Richard Madsen the musical. that would be brilliant. I would watch that.
I like Doc Fearsom's brain. It's interesting and weird.
But I do feel the need for karaoke, but I'm not going to do it here.
No, you're not going to do it here.
No,
That's correct.
I'm going to stay and listen to some music and then come back.
Yep, that feel free.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what is that the end of the show, guys? Is that what
I
is that where
think
we're
so.
at
My
here?
brain is tapped out.
Oh, okay. Well, you told some pretty good one-liners there, man.
I did.
One of them was so complicated I couldn't even understand it.
Oh yeah, I made a joke that no one thought was funny, and so I regret it now.
No, it's
But,
you have to dumb these things down for me, man. I mean, look, okay, so I might say really interesting things about like religious topics and astronomy
Yeah.
and stuff like that I had to learn because of religious stories.
mm-hmm.
And none of that is my theory. Now, I often get accused of being smart enough to come up with this. Not true. Also, I'm not educated enough to come up with this. That's how I know it's not me. But people will make this false correlation between the brilliance, I mean, insane brilliance of this total theory, and they'll push that brilliance off on me. Guys, that's not true. I mean, I'm not stupid, but I'm not that smart. So please, folks, do not think I'm that smart. I can show you my test scores that prove I'm not that smart. Now, by the way, on those tests, I was really trying, doing my absolute best. So you can't make that false correlation between the plausibility of the theory that I'm espousing and me myself. I am not that theory. Like serious business, I'm not. So I need you to sometimes explain complicated things to me. I don't automatically get them.
Oh well, I think in terms of humor that if you tell something that doesn't make people laugh, then you need to rethink one's joke. And if it requires a weird ass explanation, then it was never funny to begin with. So that's a lesson learned to me, but I've already forgotten the joke. So now I can't learn from it. Oh, well. I make
Doc
just
Fearsome's little symbol here reads, "If you fall, I'll be there. Signed, the ground." That's brilliant. I thought it was going to read gravity at the bottom, but no. That would be like, if you fall, I helped you. I pushed you. Gravity. Yeah. Signed, gravity. Mac, do you have anything, or are we wrapping it up?
Let's wrap it up. It was such a good show today, though.
That was a lot of fun, guys.
Energized by this conversation. It was really great seeing everybody.
All right, guys. Continue to judge for yourselves reality. Please accept what is intuitively and physically and emotionally and logically and correspondent to reality as the truth. No matter what you think might be true, those things are true. All right, continue to do that as much as possible.
Richard, YouTube has banned me again for 6 days because of copyright, because of playing the music. Right. Can I shamelessly? You need to follow me on Twitch. It's MUFC1115.
Would you link that, please? If you're not, you should be a moderator here, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, just go ahead and post a link if you want.
Yeah.
We'll give you space for that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go live now, I think.
Quit talking about what you're doing as if everyone needs to know the moment by moment thing. I know that dead airspace kills you, but I actually appreciate a little bit of dead airspace where people have time to think, work their brain a little bit and respond in a meaningful way that they actually purposefully wanted to. I think that's important, actually.
My computer is failing and I have to restart, so I will say goodbye now.
All right.
It's been real.
Thanks for coming by.
Oh, my
pleasure. Take care, Big Z.
Bye-bye, all.
Bye.
Cheers.
Guys,
no, before you go,
check out.
Before you go, you has he gone already?
He's already gone, yeah.
You are an absolute delight.
He's great.
He is.
Yes.
By the way, BigZebra.com is not just a screen name, it's an actual website. Please check out his comedy because that guy's got one of the most weird brains.
Yeah.
And he applies it to comedy. So here's what he does on his website normally, not always, is he takes real world stories and then looks at them in really interesting ways and then expounds on that interesting idea about it. For instance, the beauty of flowers is something we often in society, pretty much worldwide, attest to. But he'll go over what it takes in chemistry to make the flower look like that, including rotted corpses of insects.
And Richard, I'm not a mod on you, so
I got it, buddy.
Thanks, Mac. Yeah. So he'll look at the other side of why is a flower pretty, or what makes those colors, like what's it take, where flowers normally grow and why, and how disgusting that is, it's really, it's just, to me, that's just a really weird, funny view, and that's what he does. So check out BigZebra.com and share an opinion about him. He's a really open guy. Peace and respect, Justin. Okay, you're late, man. You should have been here an hour ago when the show started. We covered so much stuff. Would have had you in.
Definitely.
So this Wednesday show starts at noon Eastern time. Khalil Allah. That's when you need to show up. Not at like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's going to be the end of the show. All right, guys. Anything left to add? PJ, you go first.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on, man. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
My imagination likes a good workout, and it had it
Right.
going for a bit. And hopefully, we could talk about things, and when I could get my ideas and weirdness into a complete sentence that people could comprehend, maybe we have a good time then.
You're
too.
welcome in my
Thank you.
house every time.
Oh, thank you, man. It's awesome.
Do you have anything to shill?
Sorry?
You have anything you want to shill?
Like you and me, like a
Promote, you know?
Promote?
Oh no,
your stuff, somebody else's stuff you want to promote. It's fine.
No, nope. Just
all right, you don't produce stuff, and you don't like anyone else's content. Gotcha, Mac.
Well, all right, man.
I realized I'm rocking B's sweatshirt right now, so I haven't talked about B for a while, but
right,
I'll
be
promote.
strong. I like that.
Yeah. So that's what I got to promote today.
Yeah, I'm very biased when it comes to Beck. Yeah,
definitely. Me too.
The only thing I have is I'm gonna go live after this, but you'll have to join the Twitch because YouTube. I don't want to swear on Mitch's channel.
Well, then just don't. Use your proper words
Yeah.
that express well what you really intended to say, and don't use expressions.
Right. YouTube are litigious. I don't know how to finish that sentence.
That's a good way to say it. YouTube's litigious.
Yeah.
That's good.
Maybe even are you asserting that they're unfair in the litigiousness? Heck, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Litigiousness. But anyway,
I'm going live now. So
by the way,
anyone
I wouldn't complain. They pre-warned you not to do that.
They did several times. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, they have their own platform and they can do what they want with it. Yeah.
Okay, so don't delay. The link is going to become pretty meaningless pretty quick if you don't actually go start a show. And to wrap it all up, thank you all so much for your minds. Sincerely. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your honesty. Thanks for dropping by. Please feel free to vote on this video. I am not such a big channel that I won't respond to you if you make comments below the video or any of the other of my videos. John, long time no see. How are you? Peace and respect to you. We need to pick up the conversations we were having. You're friggin' interesting as hell, man.
Can I just say peace and respect before you do? And then I'll let you finish the show. Peace and respect, everyone.
And until next time, to press the button, though, guys.
Yeah, I don't kick anyone. Yeah. Until next time, I want you all to know that I truly do look forward to the day that we're all great friends. Till next time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
Bye, guys.